We live in a world of endless scrolling, right? So how do you actually make someone stop? Today, we're going to deconstruct why that first visual impression online isn't just a big deal. It's pretty much everything.
All right, let's start with a number. 90%. Just let that sink in for a second. What on earth do 90% of home buyers today all have in common? I mean, that is a massive majority, and it points to a huge shift in how we find the places we want to call home.
And there it is, the hunt for a new home. It doesn't start with a Sunday drive anymore. Nope, it starts right here, on a screen, just like the one you're looking at now. This means the main battleground for properties isn't on the street, it's online.
And let's be clear, this isn't some casual window shopping. It's a high-speed visual competition. Just picture it. A buyer is swiping through hundreds of listings. They are making snap judgments based on nothing but what they see. Your property doesn't get minutes to make its case. It literally has seconds.
You know, this quote from Lou Corcoran just hits the nail on the head. Professional visuals, they're not some fancy add-on anymore. They are an absolute necessity. It is the razor-thin line between a buyer stopping to look or just scrolling right on by.
So what happens when you get ignored? Well, it's way more than just a missed click. It's a seriously costly mistake that can leave an amazing property just sitting there on the market, all because its first hello was, well, kind of weak.
And this slide right here shows you the difference in black and white. On the one side, amateur photos. They just get scrolled past. They can make a place feel old, and worse, they can hide the best parts of the house. But then you have the professional shots. They don't just show a room, they capture hearts. They feel aspirational. They really light up a buyer's imagination, you know? It's the difference between a buyer thinking, next, and whoa, I have to see this place.
So the solution seems pretty obvious, but it goes so much deeper than just taking better pictures. You have to think of it as a strategic tool. It's all about crafting a visual story for that property, one that pulls people in.
So, what do we even mean by professional? Well, it's a whole package. Of course, it's the high-end equipment, the expert lighting, the killer editing skills. But the real magic, the secret ingredient, is using all that tech to evoke an actual emotion, to tell a story. That's what turns a listing for a house into a vision of a potential home.
Now, this all sounds great in theory, right? But what about the results? Let's talk about the real-world impact. We're going to look at the hard data that shows the clear return on investment you get when you tell that visual story the right way.
I want you to just take a second and think about it. What kind of measurable, nuts and bolts difference do you think a professional approach really makes? What does it actually translate to when it comes to getting buyers interested?
139%. That is a massive, massive number. It's a huge boost in a super crowded space. But 139% of what exactly? That's it. That's the first domino to fall. Up to 139% more clicks. And in the online world, a click is the first real sign of interest. It's that crucial moment a person goes from just a casual scroller to a serious lead. And here's how that whole chain reaction plays out. It's super simple. Step 1, you invest in those pro visuals. That leads directly to step 2. You attract a ton more clicks. And those clicks, they turn into more showings and more offers. The grand finale, a faster sale, and very often for a better price. It's a straight line from that initial investment to a big return.
So as we start to wrap things up, the big takeaway here is really about mastering that first glance. In our digital-first world, your ability to grab someone's attention and spark their imagination in a fraction of a second, well, that's your most powerful tool.
This is why we have to reframe how we think about this. Professional photography isn't just another line item, another cost. It is a strategic investment. By its very definition, it's something you spend money on specifically to generate a much higher return. It pays for itself and then some.
And really, that's the bottom line. It doesn't matter if you're selling a home or launching a product. In any competitive online space, a top-notch visual first impression isn't just a nice-to-have. It's your ultimate competitive edge, period.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. We all present things to the world, our work, our ideas, maybe even a house for sale. And the question you have to ask yourself is this. In this crazy world of endless scrolling, is the visual story you're telling compelling enough to make somebody finally stop?